Cars on the warm-up lap now for race 1, 15 laps ahead, and we have a wet 2.4-kilometre Barbagallo circuit. James Moffat, here's the track map, 7 corners. Doesn't look like much, but this is a tricky place.
It is a very tricky place, very hard on tyres, particularly coming out of turn 6, which sets up a very good passing opportunity into turn 7. Qualifying was dry for these guys, but Friday practice was wet, so at least these conditions aren't foreign to them.
And the Armour All Pole Award for round 2 of the championship. He said in the opener that things weren't too far away. Well, he delivered. Scott Pye picks up his first ever Dunlop Series pole. $1,500 with thanks to Armour All, and he's in the prime place for race 1. Joining him on the front row for the first time in his V8 career, Ash Walsh. Fantastic job in the Sim Pro 4. Nick Percat and Chaz Mostert, they're right in the mix on the next row of the grid. Andrew Jones, new backing this weekend for West Track. He's alongside Dale Wood. Tim Blanchard further back than we'd expect the J-Leg Ford. Rodney Dane, Daniel Gillison in the repaired Falcon, and George Medicki, first time in Perth in a V8 supercar and right in the middle of the pack.
Aaron Russell and Matthew Hansen, the local boy, making a second start in the development series, starts from row 20. Michael Hector out of 24.
First time for Hector here in Western Australia. Aaron McGill rounds out the field in the solo Falcon. So 25 cars set for this first race. We'll be riding on board with Rodney Jane, the Bob Jane T-Mart's Falcon FG. He's qualifying position 11, had a test at Winton coming into this weekend. Let's see how the man from Bob Jane T-Mart's can do. This is not a nice place in the wet, and here's his teammate, the Cytec Ford, George Medicki. He's a big guy. I don't know how he fits in here. He's about 6'9".
And of course, this is the car that Jack Perkins drove to runner-up in the series last year. So we know that George has got a good car underneath him, but very difficult to get these cars off the line in these conditions.
You've got to drive it so slowly in wet conditions. Ash Walsh explodes in a wheel spin. Nick Percat's got a great start. The Coates Hire Commodore is charging to the middle, but he's got nowhere to go. On board with Rodney Jane. Good luck seeing anyone.
And just have a look at the vision. Almost none. But great job by Scott Pye. Got the car away nice and cleanly. McLaughlin up to 4th from 6th as well. So he's got away smartly also.
And if you're 3rd or further back, have a look at the spray. It's nasty. In race 1, Scott Pye leads. Walsh 2nd. Percat got the best start, but he just had nowhere to go.
And that's a problem here at Barbagallo Raceway. A very short run to the first corner. So if you do get a good start, it is often difficult to go on with it. So these guys out front, they've got the best place, they've got the most vision, and I tell you what, these conditions are really tricky. It's really hard to describe what these guys further in the pack are experiencing.
Scott McLaughlin 4th, the Fujitsu Ford with a new look this weekend. They've just tweaked the livery on that car from Stone Brothers Racing. And have a look at this, Chaz Mostert under the gun. Luke Youlden trying to sneak on down in the Performance West Falcon, run by Matthew White's team. Now Aaron McGill is in the sand. That's at turn 6. No doubt that will be a safety car. We're hearing from pit lane that he might have gone the big-time gamble and gone for slicks.
Well, if he has, Aaron, he's a braver man than I am. These conditions, as we can see, are very wet, and to be out there on slicks, in my opinion, is just outright dangerous.
Well, the weather wasn't quite this bad when the cars rolled out from the paddock area, hence why they went for the gamble, and look at that, no chance for Aaron McGill. This was a strategy that very nearly got him a great result in the last race last year in the final round on the streets of Sydney, but it has bitten him and he's ended up in the kitty litter. So Scott Pye is the leader. The safety car is out in front of the full field. We'll take a break from Barbagallo, a restart when we come back. Back with the Dunlop Series for V8 Supercars, getting set for a restart. It's race 1, round 2. And Scott Pye for 888 Race Engineering and Monster Energy will lead us back to the control line. Now, this is a guy in just his 2nd ever V8 Supercar event. He's been racing overseas the last couple of years in Formula 3 and Formula 4. He was the British Formula 4 champ, so he would know all about weather like this.
He certainly would, and you have to say, regardless of the result of this race, he's done a fantastic job to take out pole position. Limited track time in the dry, like we said, These guys had Friday practice in the wet, so at least these wet conditions they're used to, and they'll have a bit of an idea of what their car is going to react like in this race. But Percat now coming under a bit of pressure from Scott McLaughlin and Chaz Mostert, our championship leader, back there in 5th.
Now, Percat's car looks evil. It's all over the place over the top of the hill at turn 5. McLaughlin will love what he sees because he'll try to sneak his way down the inside. He'll get this done at 6, and Nick's car does not look nice on the restart.
Certainly looks like he is struggling for a bit of tyre temperature, and Mostert all the way up the hill in the back of him, so Nick won't like that at all. And look at Luke Yilden now up the inside. He's got to run on Mostert, so he's been out positioned, and Yilden looks like the wiper's not working on that car either, so he won't be able to see a thing.
And the thing is, in these conditions, James, you need tyre temperature, but you need tyre pressure. You need them to come up, but on Percat's car, it just looks like they're nowhere.
Yeah, with pressure comes temperature, so obviously this is the first lap after a restart. Yilden having a look up the inside now, so despite probably not being able to see much, Luke actually looks quite racy here, so Percat, he'll be trying everything he can to get some temperature into those tyres, but he is definitely struggling at the moment.
Have a look at the windscreen, though, of the white Ford. Luke Yilden's car, the wiper's not working. I reckon it's gone out for lunch, because if it was working, he'd definitely be using it right about now. They had a really good test at Winton with Matthew White's team recently and came away with some really good gains. And don't forget, this is the older model, BF Falcon, but still competitive and still racing hard at the front with a very good pilot on.
And having a look up the inside of Percat, and gets through. So, yeah, like we said, Nick is definitely struggling in that car. It's unusual to see him struggle in these conditions because usually he's very speedy. So I'm sure he's probably making some adjustments inside that Coach Hire Commodore to try and find a bit more pace out of it. But Yilden, great job up to 4th position now.
And Chaz Mostert is nibbling away. He's been busy since the last round on the streets of Adelaide. Has had a run in a BMW in the Phillip Island 6-hour production car race where he ended up finishing 3rd, and he's still been travelling with FPR to all the main series events, including New Zealand and Symmons Plains. Even when the Dunlop series isn't racing, he's getting V8 Supercar 101 from the Ford factory team in every way, shape and form. This is Dale Wood driving for Greg Murphy Racing in the GB Galvanising Commodore, under the gun from Andrew Jones in the West Track Cat car, which we have to sort of get our minds around because we're so used to seeing him in red and white of BOC.
We are, but I've got to say that West Track car looks fantastic this weekend.
You just like yellow cars,
I do like yellow and black. I'm a bit biased to that colour combination, but the guys at BJR have definitely done a great job with that livery. But Mostert all over the back of Percat, and looks to be getting a bit of a run out of turn 6, cold corner as it's known, but unfortunately on the wrong side of the road. But he's got those blue headlights ablaze and will be looking at slipping up the inside of Percat into the last corner. Can he get the car stopped at the apex? He can. Bit of contact there. There goes a rear tail light from the FPR Falcon, but he gets through on Percat, so he's moved up to 5th now. And
Percat has got Tim Blanchard closing in the J-Lec Ford, and Tim's already copped a little bit of a whack this weekend. He's got a suspended $2,000 fine for doing an extra lap during the media ride session, so that's hanging over his head should he misbehave later on in the season, but he's starting to come on strong. This was the move, Mostert down the inside. Percat has to turn in. There's the bump. Nothing big.
What Nick was trying to do there, just with that little bit of contact, was just trying to get the switch back on Chaz for the run down the straight, but Chaz just propped enough at the apex to stop Nick from doing that. But yeah, at the moment it really looks like this is damage control for Percat. He's got to try and hold on the best he can because it's clear he doesn't have the car underneath him. Russell Ingall looking on there in the pit, so he'll be interested to see how Percat's going because, of course, run out of the Walkingshaw family, so anything that they learn on Nick's car, they'll be able to translate to the main series cars. But Blanchard now up the inside. Percat first, wide out over that exit curb. Won't be much grip there, and Blanchard moving forward from what was a disappointing qualifying effort for him, I'm sure.
A couple of former Formula Ford champions, both for the Sonic Motor Racing team, your old team, but Blanchard now driving an ex-Ford Performance racing car, the FG Falcon, which Chaz Mostert used late last season, which was formerly Will Davison's car from earlier on last year. There's Andrew Jones, Dale Wood, Rodney Jane, just behind that new look blue and silver Ford. That's Daniel Gillison, the Kiwi, who's driving for Matt Stone Racing, and that's the second car. He's teammates with Ash Walsh.
And remember, Daniel had a massive accident at Clipsal, the opening round, so they've had a huge repair job between rounds. They probably needed the 9 weeks off between Clipsal to get that car back in shape, but his teammate Ash Walsh still holding on in second position. On board now with Madecki. can't quite see who he's at the back of, but he's giving them a bit of a tap, that's for sure. So a bit cheeky there by George, just trying to get a run on Drew out of turn 6, but couldn't get the job done.
Great job here from Ash Walsh. He sits second in the Simpro Ford, and Scott McLaughlin is looking at his old car. This is the BF Falcon that he raced for the first year and a half of his career in the Dunlop Series. He's chasing it now, but the man that they're chasing overall is Scott Pye. He leads the way, 7 to go at Barbagallo. This is the fight for 9th spot. Welcome back. Race 1, round 2 of the Dunlop Series at Barbagallo Raceway, and Dale Wood is under pressure. We're on board with Rodney Jane in the Sonic Motor Racing run, Bob Jane T-Mart's Falcon, and Wood qualified pretty decently. P8 for Greg Murphy Racing. They had a good Winton test coming into this weekend, but he, like Nick Percat, the Coates Hire car, looks to be struggling in these wet weather conditions.
He does, and Dale had a tough start to the season at Clipsal, had a practice crash that really set him on the back foot, so it's good to see him running up inside the top 10 this weekend, qualified well, and he's coming under a bit of pressure from Jane in the Sonic Falcon, who has a dive up the inside. See if he can get it stopped for turn 7, which he can. Wood now trying to switch back onto the front straight. Sounds like looks like he's going to be able to get that done. And Gillison having a run on Jane too.
This is good stuff. It is right in the middle of the pack. We're looking at 9th place Dale Wood, who we'll see later in the year. He'll team up with Tony D'Alberto in the High-Flex Falcon for Sandown and Bathurst. And it's been around now for quite a while. Dale Wood's had 4 starts at the Bathurst 1000 and has been in the series before with this team, Greg Murphy Racing, going back a couple of years, and spent some time working at Kelly Racing.
Oh, sideways out of turn 4 there.
I was about to say he did the sticker work there, but he did the sideways work there.
He did, but he's actually got away from Jane there. So, yeah, look, that just, I guess, emphasises how difficult these conditions are for these guys. And it looks like a couple of the guys might have banked on at the start of the race the weather drying out a bit and maybe had slightly lower tyre pressures, but the weather keeps coming in this race and it's actually hurting those guys like probably Dale Wood, and certainly looks like Nick Percat might be in the same boat there as well.
Fight for 4th here with Luke Yulden. Oh, in wide at 1, Mostert's in the gap. He'll muscle and hustle and he'll get this done. Yulden will try to argue it though. No, can't do it now. So Mostert through to 4th, and the championship leader puts another couple of points in the back pocket. Here's Andrew Jones, West Track Cat Commodore from Brad Jones Racing. That's one of the very early VE model Commodores that the Holden Racing team ran a few years ago. And there's David Russell, the Global Security Management backing, coming on board for the Dreamtime Racing squad this weekend. But we said it before, I'll say it again, Ash Walsh is putting in a weekend here that is his best ever. He drove last year for Miles Racing, the Queensland-based team. Struggled, got involved in drama, was quick on occasion, but has really strung it together nicely this year with Matt Stone.
He certainly has. He was competitive at the opening round at Clipsal, and this weekend they're trying out a new brake package, and it certainly seems to be working for him so far.
And he's within sight of the all-dominant 888 Commodore from last year. Andrew Thompson drove this car to win this round here in Perth, and of course went on to win the Dunlop Series Championship overall. That's Percat dropping back with Andrew Jones. Now Rodney Jane and Dale Wood are still going. Daniel Gillison will grab a spot from Jane and now try to slice down the inside and gets it done with a tap.
Big dive up the inside by Gillison there. So somebody's off in the background there too, but Dale Wood's lost a couple of positions out of that. He got slightly mispositioned by Gillison, throwing it up the inside of turn 2, and Jane was able to slip through as well. So David Russell sitting back there watching for any mistake these guys might make to hopefully gain a few positions as well.
I think that car that you saw in the background was Cameron Waters. It sure was. He got a whack from George Badiki, and that was Elliot Barber, who nearly ran off the road too. Cam's the reigning Australian Formula Ford champion. First year in the Dunlop Series for him. Remember, he's made his debut as a kid, well, he's still a kid, at Bathurst last year. It's a real baptism of fire, but not much fire today. It's all more about water. And
he was actually very lucky to get through the sand trap. Usually when you go off at Barbagallo Raceway, you stay stuck in the sand, but because it's a little bit more compact with all the rain we've had, he was fortunately able to get through, which meant no safety car. Dale Wood's been off at turn 7, so unfortunately for him, a strong run. Let's see what's happened. Has there been a bit of assistance?
Just went in deep. I don't think there was a touch with David Russell.
Certainly was under pressure from David Russell, but didn't look like any contact, and unfortunately for Dale, that's going to drop him right down the order.
On our way home, final lap, so Scott Pye has very nearly got it done to win his first ever Dunlop Series race. McLaughlin's been putting the big-time pressure on Ash Walsh, but it doesn't look like he's going to get there. So Scott Pye, remember what he said in the previous story? I'm not far away. We're getting closer. Tell you what, he's not close. He's arrived. Scott Pye is going to win his first V8 supercar race in the Dunlop Series. Triple Eight back on top.
That's a huge effort from Scott Pye, and only his second round in a development series car. He should be very happy with that result, and I'm sure Roland Dane is as well. So right on cue. But into the final corner, a bit of damage on the front of that Sonic Falcon, George Madecki, and we saw him involved with an incident with young Cameron Waters. He finishes in position 12, so moved forward in that race, but I'm sure he might come under a bit of an investigation from the stewards after the race.
Scott Pye, no investigation required. He wins race 1. Ash Walsh, great job. Personal best, second place from Scott McLaughlin. Chaz Mostert set the fastest lap of the race. Yielded next from Blanchard. Andrew Jones finished 7th from 7th on the grid. Nick Percat struggled. Gillison 9th. Jane 10th. David Russell in 11th spot, and Dale Wood managed to recover. He finished 17th. The local Brett Stewart rounded out the top 20.
Well, one man that will certainly be happy with Scott Pye is Roland Dane after all the effort he's put into his career so far.
Well, Scott, how does that feel?
Fantastic. I mean, we had the pace in Adelaide, but to come out here today and then get, P1 in qualifying and then to win the first race in, a fairly controlled manner. I can't thank the guys enough. They gave me a great car for qualifying, and hopefully this is first of many to come.
And those conditions, awful.
Exactly. It's, changing conditions. The whole weekend's been like this. And, it's only, I think that's my second session now in the wet in a supercar, so it's definitely something different, but, I loved every second of it.